I don't go live very often at all. And apparently, if you schedule it from your phone, you have to go live from your phone. So that's what I'm setting up right now, real quick. I realize it's almost late. Is that? Let's try to scoot this closer. Sorry for those of you guys that are here super early. Or I guess on time. Has it started? Oh, see, now it shows up on my TV that I'm here. It's a little bit delayed. This might be good enough. I think it's going to be what it's going to be because I scheduled it. How's that? That'll be good enough. It stinks I can't use the computer, though. I'll have to remember that for next time. But I think I'm going to be able to see the chats, at least, because I have those. That's why I wanted to go on my computer. So I do have that pulled up. Let me see if I can go to live chat. Yeah. Okay. Hello. I'm learning. I think this is my second only live video. The other one before I was unboxing, but right before the big saw comparison, I unboxed all those different saws, and I did that on the live stream thing, I guess. What does this say? I don't want that. Okay. All right. We are going to start because I'm already discombobulated. I have the whole setup here, and I also thought I'd be able to use different cameras. I have two other cameras I was going to plug into the computer. I was going to have one focusing on the workbench. So like when I grab a tool and show a tool, like it'd be on the workbench and I can switch between cameras. But I'm not as fancy as like Rex and James and all the other people that go live, but I'll get there one of these days. All right, so we are talking about the Browns tool auction. I do have the chat, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to shout them out. I'll try to pay attention to that as well. If you don't know about Browns tool auction, and I didn't know this either going there, that it is like the highest of high-end tool auctions that exist anymore. I thought it was going to be more of like vintage users type tools, and that's not the case. This was like high-end, super collectible stuff that I have never even seen before. Planes that I didn't even know existed. And it was really cool to be able to see them and put my hands on them and be like, holy crap, this is real. Like, this is an actual thing. So if you can, go on to brownstoolauction.com and you can see a lot of the listings that were there. I think you guys can still see them. But if not, check out their Facebook page and you can see all the different planes they have. It's really, really cool stuff. But you are able to get some user items. So like I got the Hamilton, do I pronounce that correct? Marking gauge, the Batwing one. So they do have some user stuff there. And everything that I snagged, in my opinion, is like user stuff. Most of the people there were tool dealers. So like Jim Bodie was there, who was actually really cool. He was really down to earth and really chill, which is not what I expected. Martin Donnelly was there, same thing. Steven Sidor was there. I met a ton of people from Facebook that were there too. Friends that I've talked to for a long time and I never really got to meet in person. I'm not going to remember everybody's names, but like Michael Race was there. Eric Benson was there, the square guy. He is super tall. I told him he needs to put out a PSA with how tall he is because, like, I just did not expect that. Austin White was there. Charlie Ernest was there. I'd met him before. Mike Steeple was there. Just a lot of just great people. I think that would be my favorite part of the entire experience was being able to go there and shake hands with people you know that you've talked to online before. And that's something that I know we all need to get back to. We need to get back to seeing people in person. And if you can make trips like that, trust me, they're worth it. I went crazy on Facebook Marketplace and in the Can I Have It group selling a bunch of stuff. So I'd have money to actually like buy stuff when I was there. And as soon as I pulled into the parking lot, there's John Davis. And if you've ever been to events like this, you probably know John Davis's name. He's the one that has all the coat crates with vintage tools everywhere and some modern stuff too, just coat crates everywhere. And he's got really good prices. He took half of my money as soon as I parked into the parking lot. But he's a really good guy. He does give you discounts on everything. So like for some of the stuff, you'll see the price tags. I try to take them off to forget how much I paid. But he does give you discounts. You can haggle with him, which is part of the fun as well. But he's a great guy. He's really big in patina. So he invited us to do a plain wellness booth at the patina event, I think in January. I have a couple written down that I want to try to go to because I think it's really good for us to go and be in person and talk to people about the organization and stuff like that. I think that's enough of me rambling. Brown's Tool Auction's awesome. Highly recommend you guys go if you can. Let's start looking at some of the tools. Again, unfortunately, my camera, I don't have it pointing at the bench, so I'm just going to have to hold things up and talk to you guys about them that way. Right now, they're currently scattered across my bench because I forgot that I had a bag in the car that still had some tools. So the first thing is these holdfasts. They're just Jorgensen holdfast, but what I like about them is they're short, and my bench has a cabinet underneath, so all of the traditional holdfasts were going to be too long. There's a maker on Facebook that makes holdfasts, and I had reached out to him and said, put me in an order for 2 if we can make them shorter. I sent him measurements, all that kind of stuff, and I haven't heard a word, and I think it's been almost a year. So I pulled the trigger on these. I bought these. I haven't been able to try them out yet, but I'm excited about those. The next thing is one of the people that I met, her name is Ashley Piper. She's going to be a new teacher for Plain Wellness. I actually haven't announced that publicly yet, so this was the public announcement, but I'll do the formal post and everything later. She was there, so I got to meet her in person, and we were talking about this tool right here, which is what I call a pin vise. I have a couple different ones like this, but the reason I like this one is because you can clamp this part in a vise. So if I'm working on a small screw or something like that, or the top of a nail head or whatever, for whatever reason, small piece of wood, you can clamp it into this, clamp this into the vise, and it holds it well for you. The other thing you can do is clamp a screw in here and then hold it up to a buffer, hold it up to a grinder, and keep your fingers safe. So that's the main reason I wanted this one. While I was there, I met my friend Lou again in person, which Lou is he's helped me so much with the channel, with Plain Wellness, with just, I'd say he's probably one of my closest friends, maybe even borderline like mentor father figure type, because he's just awesome. He's a great person. But he noticed that this has a hole in the bottom that goes all the way through to the top. So we're thinking that maybe a line can go in there and you can clamp things. So you have a lot of different options with this one, and I'm going to test it out a little bit to see why that hole is there, because it's there on purpose. When you turn this, the hole stays where it's at. So if you guys know why there's a hole in these pin vices, let me know. But I was really excited about this tool because, again, I have multiple ones, but none that I could also clamp into a vise as well. That's one of the reasons I like going to shows too, is you don't have to pay shipping on a lot of these items. Like the Holdfast, no shipping. These little pin vices, no shipping. This is just an angle gauge, but the reason I picked it is because it has that line right there that tells you which angle you're at. If I can get this undone now. There you go. Tells you which angle you're at whenever you move this around. And the one that I currently have, no line. It is a ruler. I'm not sure if these originally go together or if it's not supposed to go together or whatever the issue is, but I've run into issues with this one not being able to figure out which angle it is. Any of you guys that are machinists, you might know like which side to look at or anything, but no, this is an old Lufkin. I saw this one for $5. I think I got it either for free or for like $2 or something like that, and I said sold. This one will go up for sale. For now, it'll sit in the chest. This is a really cool one. So this is a Buck Brothers crank neck chisel. You guys have all seen these before. But the difference is where the bevel is. So there's the bevel there, but look where the crank is and where the logo is. So normally you get a crank neck and you hold it in this operation and you push and you cut with the bevel this way and you're cutting flat. That's not the case. The bevel's pointing up right here, which I thought was very interesting. So then you're like, okay, maybe you flip it this way and cut that way, but that doesn't make sense because the logo's on this side. So the guy that sold this to me, it was only $20, which I was surprised because this has not been found in any catalog that he's been searching since 2001, I think he said, or 2011, one of the two. Hasn't been able to find it in any catalog. You can tell that it was done by the factory with just how everything is done. It looks like all of the other Buck Bros crank neck chisels. So what we think this one's for, the idea that I came up with, I don't know if he agreed with me or not, but I think this is for cleaning out the sides of rabbits. Hand-cut rabbits, because you can hold it right on. It's tough to show you guys on the camera, but you can hold it right on its side, push it this way, and clean up the sides of rabbits because the sharp point's here. So that's what I'm thinking. But for $20, I bought it. I thought it would be really cool to try out and see if it works in that operation. If not, then maybe it does get held this way when you cut. But if you guys have seen anything like this before, that was clearly made by the factory for what looks like cleaning up the sides of rabbits, or I guess maybe even tenons, right into the corner of tenons, let me know. I would say this was not most fun. There's a lot of fun tools here. All right. These next ones are, I've talked about them before, they're Japanese print block or wood block carving chisels. They have the really, really thin blades, and they do a really good job at getting into the corners of these. In my recent mini tool chest video, I talked about this one. This is the one that I currently have. But anytime I find them for a good price now, I'm just going to start taking them. There is on Amazon the Powercraft version, Power Grip, whatever it's called. I don't want to stab myself with these. And I was able to get a really, really small one on Amazon to kind of do the same thing, but it has a different handle. So these I recommend for getting into corners. They're thin, they're easy to sharpen. Usually they have a longer handle, but the other way that you can find these is just Japanese flat carving chisels. And snag them. I mean, he gave me 2 of them for $1. So keep an eye out for them. Miller's Falls is next. I got a Miller's Falls block plane. I don't know if many people know this now, because I think the channel was small at the time. I had a block plane and thumb plane collection, and I sold that collection to pay for the licensure and stuff like that to start playing well. But I don't think I ever had one of these. I'm pretty sure I never had a Miller's Falls that had the Miller's Falls around it. I haven't looked into if it's a Type 1 or Type 2 or anything like that. But if you go according to bench planes, this would mean that it's a Type 1. And I'm kind of hoping it is, because that would be really cool. So I got to clean this up a little bit. It's got some, the traditional funk that you see on the bottom of these planes every time you go to flea markets. And it's not rust. And there's green paint. I don't even know what this is, but they just get this nasty soot on the bottom that you always have to clean up. So got that. All of this was John Davis too. I should add on, except for that chisel. What else was John Davis? This was John Davis. Veritas flush cut saw, because mine is getting pretty ratty. I've had it since 2018 or 2019. So it's done. Time for another one. So I got a flush cut saw from him. He gave me this, which is a very odd tool. And I picked it up and I'm looking at it and I'm like, why is an Allen key in here? I don't understand what it's doing. And he said it's a router plane. So the Allen key is just a placeholder, but this is a router plane. So the blade goes in here, comes out here. It's got a little opening for the blade to sit, but it's at a very odd angle. So he gave it to me for free. I'm guessing because he had it for a long time and couldn't move it. Because it's very odd. It just sits at an odd angle. He said the Stanley router plane cutters fit in this. So I'm thinking that means the Veritas router plane cutters will fit in this. And I'm just kind of curious to see how that's going to work. I'm worried that it's going to rock back and forth, but it'll be a fun experiment to try this out and test this out. If you guys have any information on this tool, please let me know, because it's a weird one. Maybe it doesn't look user-made, but let me know if you guys know. Is that it from John Davis? No. Yep. Miller's Falls carving tools. Had to happen. Had to happen. They were in the box. Good price. They're all in there. The only thing missing is the stone, but I have a stone that I can put in there, I think. If not, I'm not worried about it. It has, from the original owner, cool little carving on the outside or inside. Fred owned these before. I think they're neat. I've gotten into carving since we had the Plain Wellness course on carving. I have some carving tools that aren't that good, so I thought these would be fun to have. And then, of course, after I bought those Miller's Falls carving tools, there was another set of Miller's Falls carving tools with a little bit of a bigger handle. The box is in a little bit more of a rough shape, but both of these sets were really cheap, so it was worth it to get them to me. And I can also use them and add them to the Miller's Falls collection. That might be it from John. Nope, one more. Straight edge. And this is why I think I've probably talked on the channel before. If you guys have flea markets near you or these type of events, go to them. Because all of this stuff that I got was just from a normal tool dealer that goes around to different flea markets and different woodworking events and sells all of these odds and ends pieces that are just handy to have and cool things. So this is a blue point straight edge, because for the longest time I've been using my Honeybrook winding sticks as a straight edge, and they're not like machined to be that way, and it's got an angle to it, and they work great for winding sticks, but I needed a legitimate straight edge, so I got a legitimate straight edge. Is that it from John? I think so. Okay. Let me go to, I got to meet my friend Austin there, and I had bought stuff from him before the event, and he brought it to me there. So I got a box of just odds and ends stuff that he was selling. I think he was selling it to get money for the trip. So it worked out well. These are just angled needle nose pliers that come in handy if you're holding screws or have an odd angle, and then just long nose needle nose pliers. Burnisher, triangle burnisher. This came up because I did a video. I don't remember what video it was. I don't know which viewer made the comment, but somebody talked about something I was doing, and they said, get a triangle burnisher or machinist burnisher or something like that, where it has the three, here, let me unwrap it. It has the three different sides to it. So I had it in my Amazon shopping list for a long time and just never pulled the trigger because I don't do much metal anything. But Austin had this available with a cool handle. I don't think it's rosewood. It's maybe too light. I don't know. But yeah, so snagged that from him. I thought this was a leather cutting thing. You twist the handle to tighten it down, loosen the handle to slide it where you want it. But this isn't sharp, and this isn't either. So I'm not sure. If you know what this is, let me know. I might try sharpening one side, but I don't know if that's going to work either. Maybe it's just to score the leather. No idea. Tack pooler. Yes. What's up, Cosmin? It's a scraper for metal. That could be it too. I don't remember. Somebody told me that I needed this when I was doing something with metal to ease the corners off so they don't scratch me or anything like that. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. And you missed a lot. You're late. This is a tack pooler because I have a lot of different pry bars and stuff like that, but they're not small enough when you get into the little tiny tacks, and I just thought that it was cool. Made in Germany, old school one. Added that. This would be my favorite thing from Austin. It is just a little tiny bevel gauge. Just because it's cool. I can put it in my mini tool chest. I do have the Veritas one, the old school Veritas one, but I worry about putting this in the mini tool chest without a dedicated holder because they don't make these anymore and they can bounce around like crazy and get damaged. So when I saw that he had this little tiny bevel, I said I had to get it because that can go in the box and bounce around. I don't care. I'm pretty sure it's user made. I can't see any evidence of it being made by any type of company. But if you guys have seen them before, let me know. Oh, okay. So you can use this on a lathe to bevel a bit the edges of a bored hole. Oh. Can I use it not on a lathe? Because I don't have a metal lathe. The last thing I got from Austin, I think, maybe the last thing, are these little tiny screwdrivers. Little mini, little tiny ones. I just thought were really neat. So I added those, and they might go in the mini tool chest as well. Maybe they're for eyeglasses. I don't know. That's it from there. Another vendor got a pad saw. And I had they call them squeezers. I don't think I have one at all anymore. No, no. Like keyhole saws. So I believe they call these ones pad saws because you undo these two screws and you can extend the blade or shorten the blade and it actually goes out through the bottom. But I like the idea of these because I'm guessing that I can buy some throwaway blades and just throw them away. I can use this in drywall, in wood, whatever. I don't really care, and it's not going to mess a lot of things up. And I think that these are better and more solid than the other ones that you tend to buy these days. I can also put a metal cutting blade in here because I have this Ace Hardware one, which is just not a good. So I'm thinking if I get smaller blades, I can put metal blades in this as well. I'll be able to use that for a lot of different operations. Okay. Intermission pause. I'm not doing monetization on this video, but I am going to do an advertisement, and it's hand tool haven. You should have saw that coming. So be one of the first 500 pre-sale buyers, and you can get one of these hand tool haven bags. So that way, when you go to an event like the event that just occurred, minus the auction, you can get one of these bags to shop around with. So when you find a cool little plane, you can put it in the bag and carry it around. There was my ad. I don't have Wi-Fi on, and my data warning just went off. Let me see if I can do this. Sorry for the shaky camera. Okay. Next is a sentimental gift. Actually, the next couple ones are going to be sentimental gifts because they were Christmas gifts that I got from friends when I saw them there. So the first one is from my good friend Eric, who actually lives pretty close to me. He's about, well, I guess I'd say about an hour away, but he's also the board vice president for Plain Wellness. So he is like my, if I'm having a rough day, I'm calling Eric and venting or messaging Eric and venting. So he's been kind of there with me through the stress of all of this and helping me with everything. And then also celebrating in the joys and stuff like that. So he got me a how do you pronounce it? Davidoff engraved pocket plane, which he knows that my most used plane in the shop is this pocket plane. And Davidoff had posted one up for sale. And he snagged it and gifted it to me for Christmas. And it was just, I mean, he even engraved, I don't think you'll be able to see it, but this was awesome. He kind of ratted himself out. So I had an idea that this might be what it was. But I'm still, it's a very, very thoughtful gift because if you look right here, I use this plane all the time. And now this one is going to replace it. On that note, for a while there, when I would get tools like this, I wouldn't use them. I would say, these are looking at planes. You can't use them. You can't do any of this. But really, I'm going to use this plane for the rest of my life. So let's use it. Let's enjoy it. Let's, because I have like the NX, you can't get these anymore. But this was a gift. And I really enjoy using it. Same with this one. It's got the Jamie Harpster Veritas Tool Nerds on it. Like, I'm going to use these tools. I'm going to use these tools for the rest of my life. So even though it is engraved and it's a beautiful looking at tool, they're users to me because they are beautiful and they're still functional. So Eric, thank you. The next gift that I got was from my buddy over at Spring Green Saws, Charlie Ernest. I shouted him out for a while there, multiple times, because this is his. This is his. I had panel saws on the side that are his. The mini saw is his. I have most of my saws are his saws. That's this one. You guys have seen this one before. Little mini saw. This was his first mini ever made. And I used to shout him out a lot, and he told me, he was like, okay, you need to stop shouting me out because he's busy. He gets a lot of orders. But I did get the green light a while ago, so I can keep shouting him out again now in videos. So I'm doing that now. He gave me another mini, if I can get it out of the box here, which is a mini gent saw. And if you know about the double eagle, he put a double eagle on there for me. And it's ebony. It's got a hook to it. It's real. It's awesome. I love this thing. I haven't been able to cut with it yet because I just got home yesterday, but all of his saws perform amazing, so it won't be an issue at all. So he got me a little mini gent saw with a double eagle. He wasn't able to stamp this one because the brass was too small, but he stamped this one for me, and he made a box for it. So it goes, I travel a lot with saws. I travel a lot with a lot of my tools. So he made a box that's just a ruler. Made a box that it goes in. He also made, for the first time ever, a sliding square. And you might be able to see his logo on top. He sent me a picture of this and said, "Hey, it's yours." And I'm like, "Yes, can you stamp it?" And he was able to stamp it. So he put his little spring green on there, and it's just a cool little sliding bevel. Or I keep calling him sliding bevel, sliding square. It doesn't sound like he's going into production on these, but he did do a fantastic job for his first go and for his first try at this. I mean, that was like awesome. So huge shout out to Charlie. Charlie's been awesome too. I mean, I vent to him. I would say that I vent to him and Eric more than anybody else. Whenever things are going on, good or bad, those are the two people that I reach out to. Same with Lou. So this was a very, very meaningful gift. So thank you, Charlie. And it will go in my mini tool chest. I need to build a till for that little mini tool chest. Now I think we're getting into auction items. I think. No questions? Okay. So the first auction item I kind of already shared. It was the Hamilton marking gauge. This is, I'm not sure if it is African blackwood or if it's ebony. I'm kind of leaning towards African blackwood, but I don't know. And the colors are not going to come up in the video, but I have one of his already, and I just love this thing. I love that it's got a cutter here and not a wheel. I have wheel ones too, and I like the wheel ones also, but I like that this is a cutter. I like how it's shaped. It's very comfortable to use. It's smooth. It's easy. I have the small walnut one. So when I saw that this one was up for grabs, I went for it. And it's funny too, because I had a friend of mine, John Frame. He realized that I got this and he was like, "I'm sorry, I was bidding you up when we were online." That's okay. That's how the auction game goes. I still got it for a really good price. And if you wanted it, you should have gone for it too. It's okay. So Hamilton marking gauge, highly recommend them. They're awesome. This was an impulse buy. I did very good. I was proud of myself through this entire auction. I stuck with the things that I was looking at, things that I wanted, and I stopped bidding when it got too high, but this right here was an impulse buy. And of course it's like a hammer, but it's cool shaped. I think it's cool looking. I think this is a really cool shape. It's got these metal bars to protect the wood. I don't know what they're called. Somebody's going to yell at me. They know what they're called. But it's got these metal bars to protect the wood. And I just thought that it was really neat. But it was $60 for a hammer. And I know you hammer guys are going to be like, "Oh, that's not bad." I think I was bidding against Jim Bodie for this. So if I won it for 60 and he stopped bidding at 60, I'm guessing it's worth 120. I don't know, but that's what I'm going to tell myself. Like, wow, I got this for half price. I got this for a really good deal because this was the impulse buy of the day. Next thing I got is a chamfer plane, a stopped chamfer plane. This wasn't an impulse buy. I saw this, but when the bidding was slowing down at the price that it was at, I was like, I'm going for it. That's awesome. I know it does need some repair work, like it's cracked on the top, but it's a stopped chamfer with a massive, let me take this out, massive iron. Look at that. Huge beast of an iron up here. But the way that the stopped chamfer planes work, if you don't know, they have this screw right here, which lowers this plate. So that will tell you how deep or how wide of a chamfer you're going to want. So it'll prevent you from cutting too far. Basically, you adjust the iron into here. Put that back in there so you can see what I mean. So you can see the irons right there with the stop right here. So that way you're not cutting too deep of a chamfer on your board. But I have a couple of the radii planes. I'm learning that people don't know what they are. Let me grab one of those real quick. You guys take a little intermission. Here we go. These. So these are chamfer. This one's a chamfer. This one's a curved. What do they call those? When you just put a curve, whatever. So these have double cutters, and for a long time I liked these planes because you pretty much make one pass with this, and you would cut to the chamfer or the curve that you wanted. Jorgensen also has a chamfer plane with the blades that store in the back. They did just come out. Round over. There we go. Thank you. They did just come out with more cutters for this, but I haven't got them yet because I haven't used these planes as much. What I've been doing is just grabbing the pocket plane and easing it a little bit. I haven't done like a true traditional roundover or chamfer in a while. But these planes make that easier to do than just using a plane and kind of guessing as you keep going. This was one of the earlier models. I don't know the year and stuff on it because the notes that I took to do this live stream are on my phone, and I thought that I was going to be using my web camera. So I can't look up the exact notes of this. The front of it says rolled WMS. The blade is marked the same way. So what I'll probably do in the description of this after the live stream is type in the information of how old this plane is. If there's any details on the makers. I think it said user made, but it is stamped all consistently. So if it was user made, it was like a really good user made who maybe eventually came into production. The only other issue is it has some staining, but that's stuff that's easy to clean up that doesn't bother me. On that note, when it comes to, I think I mentioned in the beginning of the video, for these auctions, most of the people there were resellers. There was a guy sitting next to me. His name was JP. I've never met him before. I don't know if that was his real name or not. But he was talking about how all these guys, they're going to buy these tools and they're just going to sit on shelves and they're just going to stare at them, or they're going to resell them. And when I talked to him about, I said, if there's anything I'm bidding on, I want it to be a user. I want to try these tools out and use them and try them. So some of these tools that have defects, like the staining on the side or like the little bit of repair that I need to do on the top, the resellers don't want. They don't want to put the work into. The collectors also don't want because it's not in perfect condition when there are ones out there in perfect condition. So in my opinion, I was able to get this for a good price because resellers didn't want it, collectors didn't want it. So that's another reason to keep an eye out on auctions. So on that note, I'm moving into an infill plane. Now, this was a gift from my buddy Lou, who, again, I can't say enough things about. He's been a huge, huge support to me, to the channel, to Plain Wellness, to me personally, to everything. Like I said, kind of like a mentor, father figure type thing. Just we get to hang out and geek out together on tools, and he's just a great, great person. And he's very concerned with my wrist. If you guys know, I have that scar. I had wrist surgery when I was in college. You can kind of see it right there. To where I have issues with my wrist. And when I plane, it hurts. So I can't plane for a really, really long time. So he got me this because he wants me to try the pull method to see if I'm able to pull the plane easier. If that's going to be easier on my wrist, I can try it this way or the other way. And he said an infill plane would be good to do that with because they're heavy and you don't need to put a lot of weight downwards. I have tried pushing infill planes before, and this grip hurts. So we are going to try pulling it and see if that helps. But this infill he got for a really, really good price because, again, to my previous note of collectors and resellers don't want anything with any kind of issues, all that's back there is this little crack, which does not affect it doesn't affect the use at all. It changes the collectability of it, but I'm a user. I want to use this tool. I want to try it out. I want to test it out. So you're able to get things for good prices if they have little defects like that and the other people don't want them. Thank you, Lou. Next, we are getting into the plane that I wanted the most out of the entire auction, which is this weird-looking jointer plane. There were, what's that called? Velcro strips down here that I tore off. But it is just a really cool, they say it's a tropical wood, so maybe monkey pod? It's light. At first, I thought it was lignum until I picked it up. But it might be like monkey pod or koa or I don't know. But you guys might be able to tell me. Because they just said tropical hardwood, user made. It doesn't seem to be that old. Because some things are pretty consistent. Like these chamfers on here. These designs. I'm not sure if those were done by hand. because they are pretty consistent. If they were done by hand, the guy did a really, or girl, did a really good job. I love this little duck design back here. The little, I just like everything about this plane. I saw it from a distance and I said, that's it. That's the plane that I want to go for. That's the plane that I want. It's got a nice tapered iron. Now, what I like about this is it is narrow, because next to the pocket plane, my next most used tool is a Miller's Falls, what's the number again? 11, which is a 5 1/4 size. And I like this for edge jointing because you don't have a lot hanging off the sides that's going to be tilting anywhere or falling anywhere. So, after trying the Olmia, if you guys, is that one posted yet? It is. The Olmia Aluline plane. Lou also sent me the wooden Olmia plane, Tap Tap, to test out. And I learned in using that plane that I can do tap taps. If you guys follow the channel, you know that I've struggled with wooden planes and the tap tap. But the reason for that is the wooden jointer that I had to practice tap tap on, it had an issue with the bed. And when I resold it, the guy that reached out to me, he said, hey, it's not your issue. The plane had an issue. So now I'm getting back into tap taps and trying tap taps again. And I think this would be an awesome edge jointing plane to use. I mean, it's low right there, so I can hook it like this for the board. I mean, I think this would be sweet. And it was only $105. I expected this to go a lot higher because it's odd. It's unique. I don't know that I've ever, which way does this go? I don't know that I've ever seen one like this before. I'm losing stuff. There it is. So I expected to have to fight and spend pretty much all of the money that I had allotted for this auction on this plane. But it didn't. I got it for $105 and I'm very excited to try it out. I'm excited to try it. I might put another coat of oil on it because I know that the strips they put on the bottom, but I think it's really cool. If you know what kind of wood it is, please let me know. Oh, I just noticed it's got like a double, what are those called? The double coves in there? Yes, I'm excited about that one. I won't ramble on about it. The last two, is this the last two? I think it is. Okay, so this one is a jointer plane, I guess, from Austin. And I was talking to him about the tap tap, and I thought it would be cool to try tap taps again. And this was the first one that he offered me. And we thought it would be a cool video to show how you clean up this side that busted out, clean up some of the cracks, clean up the bottom because the bottom's kind of concave. So I got this from him, but it ended up being free because I bought this plane, which is a Raisy 4-plane. And my understanding is the Raisy is this right here, this dip. Because if you look at most wooden planes, they're flat across, where everything stays in line. Raisy dips down like that, which is interesting because this one, the one that I got from auction, does the same thing, a Raisy style. And it just makes it more comfortable, from my understanding, is it just has it all kind of line up better for you instead of you being up higher from the plane. This one's also a lot lighter, so I don't know what the wood difference is there, but I got this tap tap one from him, tried out. It does have some cleanup, so there are some things that I need to work on, but I think I got it for a good price because it also came with this plane for free because he just wanted to get rid of it because it is beaten up and busted. All right, I think that's it. Let me make sure I covered everything. Does anybody have questions while I'm double checking myself here? I think that's it. I almost forgot some stuff because it was still in the car. Talked about those, talked about that. My bench is a mess now. I'll give you guys a little preview for those of you guys that have stuck around. Let me see if I can flip the camera because I cleaned up my shop. It's not going to look clean. It's not going to look clean, but I cleaned up my shop. I did a lot of work on my shop to free up more space. So I'll do a brief little shop tour for those of you guys that stuck around. And maybe when I post this video, I'll cut it out. So let me start over here. Nope, there's a cord in the way. We're going to go this way. All right. So this is the area that you guys are used to seeing. Ignore all of the shavings. This is the area that you guys are used to seeing. That's my background. This is the mess of the bench of all the different tools that we just checked out. So I'll go slowly over those. There we go. Now, this is the area that I changed because right here, I used to have a big dust cyclone with a big collection drum, and my dust collector was up attached there, and it took up. So from the beam to where the plug is, basically, it took up that entire space, and it stuck out really far. So I used to have my table saw pushed about 3 feet away from that pole. So it took up this entire section was done with the table saw on the table. So anytime I wanted to walk to the other side of the shop, I had to go this way around the pole. So cleaned all of that up, got it all sorted enough. I still have some cleaning to do. That corner I want to try to clean. A couple people had mentioned that they like this, and I'll just tell you guys that it's just an upside down hutch top. It's not anything special. My mom had this in an apartment she was renting, so when I moved, the guy said you can take it with you. So this is just an upside down hutch top. And the only reason it's upside down is because the feet would have hung off the edge of the table, so I said let's just flip it over, and it's perfect storage. This is a shower, though. When I bought the house, I added a curb down here because I thought my sister was going to be moving in with me. So this was going to be my shower, and she was going to be able to take over the upstairs. She didn't end up moving in with me. But showers in the basement in Pennsylvania are normal. Maybe even West Virginia, too. And I didn't know this, but that's because when you were a coal miner, you would come in from the basement, take a shower, and then you'd go upstairs so you wouldn't be tracking soot everywhere. So that's why that's a shower. Obviously, I still need to do stuff with that side. And here's all the drilling equipment. And here's all the machinist equipment with storage and stuff underneath. This was one of the first workbenches that I built. The legs are pine. The top, though, is sugar pine. And if you don't know what sugar pine is, it is the softest. I have some. I was going to show you, but it is the softest timber you can buy. In my opinion, it's softer than basswood. So much so that when I would chisel on that bench, things would bounce. That's how squishy it was. So even though the legs were solid and everything came out really well, I was really proud of it and happy with it. I made a big mistake in picking the lumber choice for the top. What I could probably do is add some MDF or something like that to the top, but I was mad. I was very frustrated by the time I got to that, so it just kind of sits over here in his storage for now. So that's that. That's kind of what prompted me to get a rockler bench too, which I do not recommend. And we can talk about that later. Let's see. Come around here. I do have, it's the Laguna F2. This is what? One of, I think, 3 power tools that I still have. I have a Laguna table saw. I have a Wen bandsaw, and then I have a jet drum sander. And those are pretty much the only power tools that I rarely even use too. Armor tool workbench was also a workbench that I thought that I was going to use for planing and all of that kind of stuff. It is pretty stable. I did have it up on wheels, but now it's just kind of an outfeed table because it has no vices on it. And I didn't like how the armor tool holds were holding. This is all the camera equipment pretty much. Storage there. I'm not going that way. That way still needs some work. I did some stuff, but most of it over there is lumber storage. You can see some up on the side here, lumber in there. My uncle did give me this. I want to do a video on restoring it. It's a Hagner, I think, scroll saw. It's been in the family for a long time, so he said the only rule is you can't sell it, and I said, trust me, I won't, because that thing's awesome. I think that's it. Files and stuff in here. Power tool stuff down there. I think my router's down there. Table saw stuff in here. Sandpaper and stuff. Yeah, like the scour pads. I'll do a real shop tour, but I just wanted to show you guys around, and there's the background you guys always see. So that is a perfect example of how everything can look like it's perfectly organized until you look around the rest of the shop and it's not. So there you go. I don't see any questions or anything like that, but hopefully you guys at least enjoyed. More of these shows. I want to do, it's going to be shaky. I want to do this. Let's see. Good night. He's saying it's midnight in Germany. He's going to bed. Good night. Thank you for tuning in. I do think that I want to do these videos, though, if I'm able to get out to more shows, because we set up a booth for Plain Wellness, and I think it went really, really well. We're reaching an audience of people that we haven't been able to reach before. because most of them like aren't on Facebook and Instagram and all the kid stuff. What'd you say? You don't even have a little organized corner? Come on. You need one. You need one so that when we take photos, you look like you got it together when you really don't. But really, I do think that we want to get out to different events and different shows to spread the word. Just let people know that we exist that aren't on Facebook. And I really like how the booth looked, and I kind of just geeked out at like we got a booth. It was our first booth ever. And then of course I was able to find tools, and then I can share the tools with you guys that are just odd stuff like this weird chisel with a weird bevel, you know? So yeah, if you guys can get out to tool shows, hopefully I'll see you guys there. If not, I'll probably do a recap like this, and I'm not really sure how to end this. I don't know if there's a button I'm supposed to push, if I just X things out. I'll get better at this too as I start doing them more. Let me see if I do this. No. Maybe I just hit X. All right, I'll do my ending then. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, any comments, anything like that, feel free to let us know down below, and have a good day. Is it the X? It is. All right. Thank you, guys.